Close your eyes and breathe deep. Let the sounds of the day fade away, like distant stars dimming in the morning light. Tonight, we journey together into the quiet, into the vast, silent sea of the night sky. We're going to drift among the stars and listen to a story of a great journey, a story of hope and homecoming. This is the story of Apollo 13. Imagine a time, not so long ago, when humanity looked up at the moon, Grandmother Moon, and dreamed of walking upon her silvery surface. 3 men, 3 brave star sailors, were chosen for this grand voyage. Their names were Jim, Jack, and Fred. They were astronauts, but tonight, let's think of them as voyagers, carried in a vessel named Odyssey. Their destination was the moon, a place of silent wonder. They climbed into their ship, a marvel of engineering, a small home they would live in as they flew through the endless dark. With a great roar that shook the earth, their powerful rocket pushed them away from our world, climbing higher and higher, until the blue of the sky turned to the black of space. Below them, Mother Earth became a beautiful spinning marble of blues, whites, and greens. They were on their way. For 2 days, they floated in the quiet peace of space. The journey was smooth. They could see the stars more clearly than anyone on Earth. Ever could a blanket of countless diamonds scattered across black velvet. The moon grew larger and larger in their window, a friendly, glowing face waiting to greet them. They were more than halfway there, feeling the pull of the moon's ancient gravity. Everything was calm, everything was perfect. But space is a place of deep mystery and surprises. Deep into their journey, a sudden, sharp bang echoed through their tiny ship. A shiver ran through the vessel. Red lights flashed on the control panel, blinking like urgent, worried eyes. A voice, calm but laced with concern, crackled through their headsets back to mission control on Earth. It was Jack, and he said the famous words, "Houston, we've had a problem here. Something had gone wrong. An oxygen tank, a vital source of air and power, had ruptured. The Odyssey, their home and their ride, was losing its breath, its lifeblood bleeding out into the cold void. The dream of walking on the moon vanished in an instant. The new mission, the only mission, was to get home alive. They were over 200,000 miles from Earth, stranded in the vast, silent ocean between worlds. Their main ship, the Odyssey, was dying, but they had a second, smaller ship attached to it. It was the lunar module, named Aquarius. It was designed to land 2 men on the moon, a fragile craft like a spider made of foil and wire. It was never meant to be a lifeboat. It was never meant to support 3 men for the long journey home. But now, it was their only hope. The 3 voyagers left the cold, dark Odyssey and moved into the small, cramped Aquarius. It was cold in there, so cold they could see their breath. To save power, they had to turn off almost everything. including the heater. They were wrapped in darkness, with only the stars and the distant Earth to light their way. The silence of space was all around them, a silence so deep it was almost a sound in itself. But they were not alone. Back on Earth, in a room full of screens and dedicated people, Mission Control was working tirelessly. They were a tribe, a family, all focused on one goal: bringing their brothers home. Engineers, scientists, and technicians worked day and night, without sleep, their minds racing. They knew the Voyagers in Aquarius were running out of power, running out of clean air, and getting colder by the minute. One of the biggest problems was the air itself. As the men breathed, they exhaled carbon dioxide in the small space of Aquarius. It was building up, becoming poisonous. They had filters to clean the air, but the filters from the main ship, Odyssey, were squared, and the openings in the lifeboat, Aquarius, were round. They didn't fit. It was like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, with their lives depending on it. So the team on Earth gathered everything they knew the astronauts had on board: cardboard from a flight manual, plastic bags, socks, and of course, duct tape. They spread these simple items on a table and, like elders solving a great puzzle, they figured out how to build a makeshift adapter. They radiated the instructions, step by step, across the vastness of space. And in the freezing dark of their tiny craft, Jim, Jack, and Fred built their life-saving device. They made the square peg fit the round hole, and they could breathe again. The journey was long and cold. The men shivered. Their food was frozen, and sleep was nearly impossible. To save power, their navigation systems were off. They were flying blind. They had to use the oldest navigation tool of all the stars, just like the ancient mariners and the ancestors who navigated by the night sky. They had to find their way home by looking out the window at the distant, steady lights of creation. Their path home was not a straight line. To get back, they had to use the moon's gravity, slingshotting around its dark side. For a while, as they swung behind the moon, all communication with Earth was lost. They were in total silence, alone on the far side of the moon. They looked down at its cratered ancient surface, a world they had longed to touch, now a silent partner in their desperate flight home. The view was majestic, beautiful, and lonely. As they came back around the moon, radio contact was re-established, and a collective sigh of relief was felt on Earth. Now came the final, most dangerous part of the journey. They had to leave their lifeboat Aquarius and return to the cold, powered-down Odyssey. They had to hope that after days of being frozen, its systems would wake up for one last, fiery ride through Earth's atmosphere. They said goodbye to Aquarius, their little lifeboat that had kept them safe. They sealed themselves inside the dark, frigid command module, Odyssey. Now, everything depended on their heat shield. Would it hold? Had it been damaged in the explosion? There was no way to know. They hit the atmosphere at incredible speed. The ship became a fireball, a falling star streaking across the sky. The friction heated the outside 2000s of degrees. For 4 long minutes. The intense heat created a communications blackout. No one on Earth knew if they were okay. The world held its breath. Mission Control stared at their screens, waiting, hoping, praying. The silence was deafening. Then, through the static, a voice. It was faint at first, then clear. They were through. They had made it. Their parachutes, great orange and white flowers, blossomed in the sky, slowing their descent. And then, with a gentle splash, the Odyssey landed safely in the blue waters of the Pacific Ocean. The three-star Jim, Jack, and Fred were home. They had traveled to the edge of disaster, stared into the endless void, and returned. They returned not because of one hero, but because of the strength of the team. The tribe on the ground who refused to give up. They returned because of hope, ingenuity, and the quiet courage to keep going, even in the coldest, darkest moments. And so, as you lie here, floating in your own peaceful sea of sleep, remember the quiet courage of the Apollo 13 crew. Remember the stillness of space, the beauty of the stars, and the strength we find in each other. Let the silence of the night be a comfort, a blanket of peace. Breathe in and breathe out. Know that you are safe, you are grounded, and you are ready for a deep, restorative sleep. Drift away now into your own gentle journey through the stars. Good night.